There we go. And we're joined by the team from Armata. I will just give it another minute or two before I let them introduce themselves, just so we can get the numbers up. So sit back and relax, and we'll be kicking off shortly. Thank you for recently joined. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Ryan van der Korbeek. I'm the business unit head for cyber, collectibles, and digital distribution. With me, Lwando, who is our, you can introduce yourself actually.
That's right. I'm leading up the underwriting team on the commercial cyber side.
And we're joined this morning by the team from Armata. You may have seen a press release of late around the strategic partnership that we've entered into with Armata. We want to take the opportunity this morning to introduce the broker community to the team from Armata, as well as unpack a little bit more what that partnership means and the benefits that you can bring to your clients through that. So without further ado, what I'll do is to hand over to Caesar from Armata and let the Armata team introduce themselves from there. Thanks, Caesar.
Thanks very much, Ryan. Good morning, everyone. We really appreciate your time. My name is Caesar Tonkin. I'm the Managing Director for Armata Cybersecurity. We're a separate PTI Limited within the Vivica Group, about 12 companies, and we just eat, sleep, and breathe cybersecurity. We are really looking forward to engaging with you and looking forward to how we can jointly make this partnership with our two specialists online. In the room, I'm just going to introduce you. We've got Richard Frost, who's our Head of Cybersecurity Consulting. He comes with a lot of experience in cybersecurity. Venetia Tommy is one of our sales specialists and very instrumental in what we're going to do in this partnership. So thanks for joining us.
Sound is quite big. Sound is a little bit louder.
And then, I now and then we've got Zia Silva, who heads up our sales. And thanks very much, colleagues, for joining. Thank you.
Perfect. So I think what we'll do is let's just unpack some of the rationale from an iTOO perspective around the partnership, and then we can get into the presentation from there. We've been on a journey for a while, and I'm sure many of you heard me talk about how the traditional way we underwrite cyber insurance, yes, serves a purpose, but has possibly got some shortcomings in that it is quite static in the way it operates. And we'd really love to move to a position where you have more automation, you're able to bring more value to your clients. So we can give them meaningful insights as to, oh, here is a potential vulnerability in your environment. These are the implications of it, and this is how you can go about remediating that, as opposed to just a normal tick box proposal form, which may not highlight some of these things to clients. I think we often find that some clients are heavily reliant on their third-party service providers. And unfortunately, there's a variance in the service that clients might be getting from them. So there are some fantastic third-party service providers out there who are doing a really great job. And then there are some that are, unfortunately, from what we've seen in a claim circumstance, have maybe let some things slip through the crack. So bringing some testing from our side, we're able to give clients that additional, and through with you, give clients some additional comfort that, yes, the things that are being ticked, yes, are in place, that there's no sort of gaping holes facing the internet that could be exposed. And that's kind of the background to why we've gone into this partnership with Armata, who can now bring some of that testing and some of those insights to insureds, and we can utilize that in the underwriting process. These external posture assessments are not new. It's something which we've been doing for a while now. But where we've not been able to really leverage those properly and maybe help out from a sales perspective is actually using those tests and reports and then having a cybersecurity expert walk through the report with the insured to go, these are the potential weaknesses. This is what it actually means. And these are the ways you can remediate it. What we've done from our side is flagged some bigger concerns from our side and posed those questions. But this is now the next evolution from that, as well as, and as you'll see in the presentation, the potential for further testing off the back of that to try and improve the risk posture, which will then also be recognized through the insurance. So trying to create a bit of a win-win relationship for that entire ecosystem as such. I don't want to unpack it too much further from that. I'm wary of delving into too much of what's in the presentation. So let me bring up the preso and then I'll hand back to you, Caesar. Share screen. Presentation. Share sound. This is recorded, yeah. So let me slip my laptop across to you. And you're in.
Okay, I
You're on
will.
top seat.
Okay, cool. I shall project my voice.
Yeah.
All yours.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. And I think it's really it's an opportune time for us to engage with the broker community in you know, what does this mean for you? And that's why this partnership has been formed. I ran this past a very senior cybersecurity executive in the telco space. I had my catch up with him, and I said, you know, we've just made this announcement. He said, this is one of a kind. And that one of a kind means that we could do something really special with our joint customers. So we're not only accessing your customer base, and the client broker base, but also you will be accessing our 2,500 base, plus another 2,500 in the broader Vivica group. So we really want to put a pot of gold on the table there. It's not just about, oh, this is a great partnership. No, there's skin in the game on our side, and there's also going to be an upside for you as client broker with how are we talking, 900 or 700? Sorry,
Yeah,
keep me honest.
Yeah,
And you know, your end customers will really be able to feel the value of this partnership in a way that this group executive said to me, wow, no one has got this right. So good luck. And I'm saying good luck to us. And I think the nature of this partnership is pretty much summarized here. And if you haven't distributed the actual press announcement, maybe those who don't have it, they could just go under maybe, or someone can.
I'll share it on the
Yeah, I think it's really very useful when you do talk to, you know, end customers, end clients. You know, what is this partnership? Why is it so special? And I think the key message is that we focus on nothing but cybersecurity as a service to our 2,500 customers, and it's across a very diverse portfolio. And your business of cybersecurity is just as important to us. And in actual fact, when we engage with our customers, they want to know that we drink our own champagne, that we've got cyber insurance, and we do, and we're going to move it over to R2 quite soon, by the way. We you know, the nature of this partnership is that customers are going to want to have an all-in-one stop, you know, shop that takes care of your cyber insurance, and a partner that understands good cybersecurity operations from a service delivery point of view, and that when a client takes out a cyber insurance policy with R2, that on a frequent basis, we as the service provider can say from an assurance point of view to you as client broker and to you as the underwriter, the shop is well taken care of from a reactive and a proactive point of view. So that's the nature of this partnership, and the natural synergy, almost a cross-sell, upsell, but we're not obviously FSB, we can't do that. Our focus is to really help and complement what you're trying to do with your customer base, and that's to grow cyber insurance, you know, with your customers. And in our sense, if a customer comes onto your client or our client comes onto our security operations, there's a guarantee around the service level, and there's even a cyber insurance warranty associated with that if they're hit by a ransomware attack. So, you know, how do we make sure that they are contained, that cyber attack is contained, and how do we make sure that the overall cyber defenses within that organization is well taken care of? So the nature of this partnership and the synergy is something we're going to have continuous market awareness about. So in about 4 weeks' time, we're going to have a follow-on webinar to our client base, which you're going to join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your broker community are welcome to join us. They will be able to see in action what our operations is about. And I think that's important. You know, what are we really talking about here? What is the nature of cybersecurity threats? What is that threat landscape, as it's called? And I'm sure you're all aware that business email compromise, where a threat actor intercepts a mail, changes who the beneficiary is on that invoice without that organization knowing that that invoice has been changed, and accidentally pays the wrong party. And as a small business, medium-sized, but even a large business, you just can't afford to be hit by that kind of a fraud. So that's a good reason to have cyber insurance. It's a good reason to have a managed security services through Amata Cybersecurity. And phishing attacks, ransomware attacks. I mean, ransomware attacks, it's gone crazy, silly season in South Africa like nobody's business. If you just look at the amount of attention now globally by threat actors, by bad cyber criminals. I think cyber criminal is good. Sorry. With ransomware attacks in the South African, context, it's just absolutely relevant that those companies have a cyber insurance policy and a really well-managed cybersecurity services partner like Amata. Data theft, extortion, supply chain attacks, all these things are relevant. And then how threat actors, cyber criminals are exploiting companies that don't patch for vulnerabilities. It's what is called basics, housekeeping. So taking up a managed security services through Amata Cybersecurity is one of those things that if you've got cyber insurance, your underwriter is going to expect you to take care of the basics. So patching and vulnerability detection is absolutely doing the right thing. Running antivirus, it's the basics. Running good email security, it's basics. But as part of this arrangement, we also have much more advanced ways in which we detect, hunt for threats, and do a 8x5 or 24/7 security monitoring through our Security Operations Center. So we do have an all-in-one bundled offering to be able to take care of for customers the nature of the threats out there. This is just an infographic showing a phishing attack, a ransomware attack, etc. So I'll let you look at that in your own time.
And maybe just to jump in on that, Caesar, I think, we talk about the business email compromises and we talk about the ransomware. And this is very much where we see clients being compromised, where our claims lie. So business email compromise over the last 18 months, I'd say, Rwanda, has been our biggest cause of claims. The ransom, and it's actually better described as cyber extortion, because we now pretty much never see an attack where the guys are not stealing the data out of the environment first and then potentially encrypting it. It's still the most expensive claim that we're seeing, and that is a type of attack that, as you said, is on the rise again, not just from a South African perspective, but this is the feedback we're getting globally when we're chatting to reinsurers, etc. Wanda, you were looking at a stat this morning where the information regulator, so the POPI regulator in South Africa, is dealing with about 150 cases being reported to them on a monthly basis. So that's 150 companies in the South African environment that are going cap in hand to the regulator monthly and going, we've been hacked, data's been stolen from our environment, and now becoming part of that ecosystem. So we're seeing a lot of activity happening, and these are now scans and services and stuff like that to try and protect and help the client prevent being one of those statistics.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's really good to know that what you've seen in the market is how we help protect organizations against those types of threats. So the engagement is that we would seek to understand a customer's cyber protection risks and priorities in this partnership. And we start by doing an external security posture assessment at no cost. And if we engage a particular customer, it's about how, from an external point of view, would a threat actor see your environment? Oh, you can be compromised in the following way. You've got doors that are open and they can go and steal your data, or they can send you suspicious, what is called spoofed emails, and do all sorts of naughty things and very disruptive things. And that's not even getting behind into the actual organization. This is just from an external threat perspective. So we run an external security posture assessment, and out of that is, what is your posture? And there's about 20 things that we look at, and it's a summary report that gets presented with iTOO Client Broker and Amata Cybersecurity under Richard, the consulting head. He drives that on a repeatable basis So if you were saying that we've got 20 clients that we really want to take and go and talk to them about cyber insurance, we just need to know who those clients are and what is called a domain name. And we run that scan, the external posture assessment, and within a day or two, for all 20, you would have a good summary understanding of what that client security posture looks like. And that is a way of opening up the conversation in two different directions. One is, we think you need cyber insurance. The second thing is, our partner, Amata, can help you take care of detecting and proactively raising your cybersecurity operations through a service managed security service arrangement. And both are important, because if you've got good security operations with a service level, you become more insurable from a cyber insurance point of view. And I think that's the sweet spot in the market. So when this group executive said to me, can I tell you why this is so important? That's what he said. That, you know, if you are not really taking care of your security operations, knowing that you've done a security posture assessment, as a client organization, it just becomes, you know, well, it's too expensive to go into cyber insurance, or there is a risk load on the premium. Or if you are going to be claiming and you say that you've really sorted out the gaps, but it turns out you haven't, then that's a problem from a repudiation, as well as you might have wasted money. And that's where this partnership is all about. If we take these external security posture assessment, we would, in the conversation with yourselves present, say to that organization, these are your gaps, this is by when you should close it, and we can help you close it, technically, operationally. And once it's closed, then you come back and get that proposal form into the underwriting process. Or no, you're good to go, there's only a few gaps, note what they are, and then that application can be submitted. And that application being submitted, is we don't do it, but we would advise technically that organization with the client broker present on how to fill it in. Now, I'm sure most organizations really battle on how to fill in an application from the proposal form.
I think the broker community would agree with you that the proposal forms are a little bit of a bugbear. They can be tricky documents to complete, absolutely.
I also sometimes think the client thinks they're marking a specific area as a yes answer when they're in fact a no, because they haven't been fed information. I think that's what we as a market are doing as well, is we're actually bringing truth to the application. We're assessing them and saying, yes, this is a correct answer, or no, it's not. If it is no, what is your roadmap to correct that?
No,
and that's a big point, Richard. We've seen on a number of occasions where clients have been compromised, and the fix that could have been put in place to have prevented that incident. Maybe it was a patch that needed to be applied, and they were completely oblivious to the fact that this patch was outstanding. Perhaps it was a port that should have been closed, which was then utilized to get unauthorized access environment. So some of these fixes, which have resulted in big damages and claims and stuff down the road, would have been very simple to remediate upfront had the client been aware of it. And it's, it's a horrible situation for clients to be in. And one of the big drivers for me personally behind looking to bring this sort of thing to it is, it's so easy to resolve some of these things. You don't want companies to go through a cyber incident. It's a terrible experience. I almost use a very ugly word to describe how bad an experience it is. You kind of feel like you've been broken, you've been violated, there's someone in your environment. Your business, you may have spent years building up the reputation for it, and now it's kind of sitting it's hanging as to what the future outcome of this is going to be. So by all means, trying to avoid a situation, and this is not just an insurer going, oh, we want to avoid money on claims. The impact for businesses is real. It's not a pleasant experience to go through. And if there's simple ways that they could have made certain changes without having to have spent a vast amount of money, then it's great if we can surface this to them and give them that sort of value to prevent what we've seen play out on some occasions.
So the external security posture assessment is our first port of call in the engagement with those who said they might want cyber insurance. And it really is it's a way of building a close long-term relationship between IT client broker and Amata. And as I said, we're going to bring our own base to the table that your brokers can also access with us present, and mutually so. So we really want the broker community to feel that we are putting skin in the game here. And why have a partnership if you're not putting skin in the game? So, you know. Okay, so now that client has, with the ante brokers, broker has seen what that organization's posture, external security posture looks like. And they say that they want to, fill in the proposal form, in other words, submit to the application. We would go into the next step, and that is, because we know exactly what is in the proposal form, and it's quite technical, but not too technical that generally someone who's got a bit of technical understanding will be able to fill it in. But even then, what we're offering is that we're going to look internally, or let's say in a more comprehensive security controls review, what are the actual security controls, cybersecurity controls that are implemented or need to be implemented, and use that to double check what is that organization's response and answers on the application form, that proposal form. Because what's important, and I think you said it, the truth, the integrity of the responses equals, if you are going to submit a claim and it looks like you didn't have password complexity enforced in your organization, and that was a way in which you were hit by a ransomware attack, it's going to be difficult for any underwriter to say, good to go. Yeah, we'll honor the claim. So we step in this partnership, do a very deep dive technically, and use that to help guide how the client actually completes that form. So we do the technical review and guidance on completing the form. They sign it and submit it. We step away. But because it's independent and it's of a technical competence around cybersecurity, the speed with which we can get that done means there's a benefit to you. The quicker you can get that done, I call it a win ratio. I don't know what you call it here.
Yeah, hit ratio.
Okay, but basically you can get it over the line as from an opportunity to actual close business. And therefore addressing, oh, I've seen a form, I don't know how to fill in, I'll just file 13 it. That's often the response, not only in your business and amongst your broker community, but amongst other competing that over the years we've dealt with. That's been one of those. So we help and solve that problem. And the mechanisms of how we go about doing a very comprehensive security controls review and using that to complete or help complete the actual proposal form. There's a bit of granular thinking around that. But what we do is under Richard, he is a team behind Richard. It takes about a week, maybe 2 weeks maximum, and we run very deep technical tools to check everything that you would normally check on your proposal form. So most clients fill it in and they do a tick box exercise. They don't know actually what they're filling in because they've not got a technical validation of what their controls actually are like. So if you say that you've got parcel complexity enforced on your Active Directory, we want to go and run a few tools, scan, oh yes, you do have, or no, you don't, in the following areas. And we disclose exactly to the client and also to the client broker if need be, exactly what the answers are, but on the actual proposal form. But this is why it cannot be 100% good to go, because there's major technical control gaps, and this is what they need to do to close it, and by when. And this is where we step in the partnership to help them close it. And they come into a service, managed security service operation with us, or we just engage them to actually close those gaps so that they are good to go when they submit this proposal form. Whoever signs off the authorized person within their client has confidence that an independent party like us in this partnership is helping get this over the line as quickly as possible. Because I think, yeah, as an FD, I really have said to my board, I need cyber insurance, but it keeps getting declined. Oh, there's a whole bunch of reasons why. So this is helping make sure that FD saying to his board, this application will be approved because of Amata in this partnership with iTOO. We're good to go. I've dealt before, taken up this role. I helped in a very similar fashion 3 organizations, not all 3, and fairly sizable one, and massive 7,000 employee base. Said, we just don't know how to get this over the line because the insurer, wasn't you, just keeps declining us. Okay, so that's a hot button that we really tackle into, and we are so excited to add value. You know, if you don't have cyber insurance and hit by a ransomware attack, well, it might cause your small or medium-sized business to go out of business. So how do we help the economy retain businesses as opposed to exiting the market? It's not just an altruistic thing, but we want to make a contribution to not only the cybersecurity profession, into this partnership, but to make sure businesses stay in business. So, cool. I talked too much.
I think maybe just to add to that point, as already mentioned, the managed security services as well. You also know at the time of signing the application form and signing up with insurance, that is your current posture, right? But having a cyber insurance policy that goes on for 5-10 years, and nobody's actually validating continuously what your cyber risk is, that obviously changes. So the answer that you give on the 1st of March may be different on the 1st of December, right? So that's where managed security services also helps, because it's a continuous source of truth, maintaining and keeping you compliant with your insurance requirements.
Because there are new vulnerabilities that are coming out on an ongoing basis. The hackers, you know, this is their job. So, you know, the more money they make, well, the way they make money is by finding more ways to compromise companies and finding ways to steal data and launch ransomware attacks and conduct BEC sorts of attacks. So that sort of landscape is continually evolving, and the potential ways in which it can be compromised is continuously changing. So it can be a case of you having to continue to stay on top of things to make sure that you've defended against the attackers. There's a saying that somebody in the security industry once said to me, and I think it resonates, and it may be scary for security practitioners, but security practitioner, the sort of cybersecurity team inside of the business, has to be right every single time. The hacker has to be right only once.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think just to add on that, if you look at the Armata and iTOO partnership, when you look at the sales cycle, because you have the technical competency and the know-how from Armata, and we have the insurer from iTOO and the various brokers, we can shorten that sales cycle because we bring that IP as opposed to the broker navigating it with the customer.
Yeah.
And the customer has that level of surety that the insurance and the solutions that they have in place is going to cover them at every level.
And I think you touch on what I think has been a big pain point for a lot of brokers in the market is cyber is a difficult topic to discuss.
Yeah.
There's a lot of acronyms involved, a lot of technology. There are instances where I think the mentality changed, but where some IT managers almost see the thought of buying an insurance policy as a bit of an affront to their skills and capabilities. And that's kind of, you feel like you have to buy insurance against what I'm already doing. I'm completely competent. We will never get hacked. That's not the reality.
Yeah.
So what this partnership now allows is it arms the broker with a cybersecurity expert who can then come into discussions as well and bring the understanding of the acronyms and stuff like that and just elevate that sort of discussion. I've attended a number of client meetings with brokers myself. And it is an interesting discussion when you start unpacking up what are the potential controls, how is this being managed, have you thought of this and stuff like that. And you find that these guys open up a lot and they almost now see you as an ally to try and ward off, which is something that's keeping them awake at night.
Yeah.
So this is something we're now able to bring to brokers is, here is expert cybersecurity experts, so experts in one sentence, who can help you in these client engagements to bring the risks to the fore, the types of controls. And if your client is secure and doesn't want to buy insurance, this external posture scan's got no cost associated to it. They are for free getting a kick of the tires and a thumbs up to say, hey, from what we can see, at least externally, you're looking good as it stands at the moment. Yeah.
So I think as well, I mean, that's a good way to translate it for the brokers. If you think about, you know, how bad is cyber risk at the moment? If you think about theft, the chances of it catching alight and having a fire is very high. Hence, you know, the risk. We look at cars, certain cars like the Toyota Fortuner, everyone knows it's a higher risk, right? Chances of it being stolen is much higher than, you know, some other brands of cars. I think the chances of getting ransomware now is so high it's becoming the same. Some insurers are actually not wanting to insure against ransomware because of exactly that. So where we would be effectively as a cybersecurity company assisting the insurers and the brokers is number one, would be like the roadworthy, making sure that the car is able to drive and got the correct things in place. But also being like the next generation alarm or tracking device, so that if something does happen, we can recover the car quickly, or being the fire suppressor, on the roof that's protecting the factory, and there's a fire as well.
And
And that's the kind of partnership that we'd be.
absolutely, and the insight of, hey, these are things which we see getting compromised and going wrong.
Correct.
This is how you fix, and if you look at something like applying a patch, this even cost you a fortune. It's really just doing an update. Closing certain ports. I mean, we've seen where companies were not aware of the fact that they had RDP, remote desktop protocol, which is one of the most compromised protocols by ransomware attacks teams facing the internet. They were oblivious to this. Had they known it's a 2-second job to disable it, would have done it and saved a lot of heartache and tears and money, reputational damage, etc. down the road. So good to start bringing a lot of this to the fore so that we can better equip SME business and businesses at large to be better protected. Maybe buying a car over the Toyota, using your car example, or whatever the case may be, so that they're in a better position to protect themselves against cyber attacks and stay in business. And with the altruistic sort of statements, create more jobs, build the economy, etc.
Thank you. So this picture just shows that, for those customers that want to move into a managed security service offering, this is what we do as a business. And we have a flexible, tailored offering around our managed security services. It's an all-in-one bundled offering covering very simple which I'm about to show you now. And it's on an SLA, service level agreement. And as Richard pointed out earlier, that because of the nature of the threat landscape is ever evolving, coming to the Amata Managed Security Services, Cyber Defense Services, means that we are there to be reacting to and to be proactive for the customer. And we would give to iTOO an assurance with the client's permission, an assurance report to say this remains a well-protected business, well governed from a security operations point of view under our service level, and we will give an assurance report on whatever frequency that the policy is still in a good place, that this is still an insurable policy holder. So our services, as I said, cover business email compromise, vulnerability and patch management. The assurance services, what I've just spoken about, and our all-in-one security service includes managing their firewalls, managing if a client doesn't want a firewall, they want a zero trust, which means that you have a particular client agent on your end user laptop or desktop, and they are granted access to their organization if they're working only remotely, hybrid or from home, that they can access only specific business systems and data and nothing else. So that's what is called zero trust. Endpoint protection, so that's antivirus, anti-malware, and much more advanced next generation endpoint protection, which is called EDR, endpoint detection response. Email security, vulnerability and patch management, advanced backups. So we use Veeam there, for example. So it's all part of our bundle offering, and then security awareness. So that as an all-in-one security service with an SLA and very carefully priced out on a consumption basis, in other words, pay as you go, OPEX is a unique offering with a service level agreement. Now that, if clients come into that and they take cyber insurance, it just means they've got a comprehensive cyber protection service in this partnership. And if a customer is compromised with a ransomware attack or business email compromise, as part of this arrangement, we would, from the policy, we would be enrolled to do the containment, eradication, get that client back into business, to help recover the backups, to do forensics, etc. It's all part of this partnership. Okay, Don't know if there's anything you want to add there?
No, I think summed it up well.
Okay. Your business?
Okay, so I won't bore everyone to tears with the run through of what a cyber insurance policy covers, and that's what we've got on the right hand side. So the interesting part and what the partnership brings into it is the assessments, which is what we've spoken about. So if you have a client that you're wanting to put cyber to, or that is an existing client that you have some concerns or you want to just sort of give them these insights, let us know via Amata. We're then able to run the external attack surface assessment. And I suppose you could equate that to an initial reconnaissance exercise by a hacker. So what this tool is going to do is it's going to take that domain, go and look to see what related to that company is visible from the internet, and then take a look to see from what's visible to the internet, are there any weaknesses or misconfigurations or potential vulnerabilities in that attack surface? And then it's going to flag and report that. Benefit that client can then hopefully address and resolve these things before they are exploited, potentially resulting in an incident. That report will then be put together from the Amata side, and you'll have the ability to have Richard or somebody in his team presenting that posture report to the insured or potential insured and running them through. So what does this actually mean? Because I think sometimes these reports can also be a little bit overwhelming. So what is RDP and SNMP and all these various very fancy IT acronyms? What does that mean to my business? What is the likelihood of somebody compromising that? How would they do it? What could happen from there? So you've now got a security expert that can come and have that discussion and go, okay, so that's what it does. This is how it could be compromised. We're seeing it compromised a lot. And hey, to disable it, this is what you're going to do. Step 1, 2, 3, not that difficult to process to necessarily do. Or maybe you need to consider this technology solution if this is something which is of concern to your business.
Maybe just to add to that,
Yeah.
Mike, just for clarification, that external posture assessment that we're doing is utilizing information that's publicly available. That means that we can pull it, so can threat actors.
Yeah, that's exactly what you.
And I think also, just because I know there's sometimes concerns around it, this tool is not proactively looking to hack into a client's environment. So it's utilizing information which, if you know where to look, is already accessible and can be utilized by nefarious threat actors, etc., and then bringing that information together and compiling a report. So there's no risk of your client's environment now being taken offline by this assessment, or unauthorized access being gained into the environment, or information being surfaced that other people may not be able to access. So it's a good, I want to say, safer or less risky way to get these insights so that they can be addressed and remediated hopefully, a compromise. And that's at no cost. So, and again, from a broker perspective, I think allows you to engage with your clients at a different level from a cyber perspective. Saying, hey, I understand that maybe you feel you don't have a cyber risk. What's the harm for you in having this assessment done? And let's confirm if that is the case. Here is a value add, and you can then have the discussion off the back of that, which I think does just put you in a different league when you're having the discussion with your clients. And then, yeah, as I said, the commercial cyber policy, same coverage as we always would have had as such. The assessments are the big game changer on that front. And then off of that engagement, possibly moving into some of the other, which would be paid for engagements, like the managed security solutions. Back to you.
Cool. So then we can distribute what you can't see, this infographic of exactly what is the day in the life of the I2 and Amata cybersecurity service, from the cyber insurance to the cyber posture, and then our offerings, which is email protection, advanced endpoint protection, vulnerability and patch management, backups, network security, zero trust security, service level management. That's wrap around all of this. Then that we have a role technically on the cyber insurance claim, and even help you if an insured policyholder is hit by a ransomware attack. We guide them through how to do the mandatory notification to the regulator. If you don't do that, she's coming after you. She's starting to get teeth.
The regulator is starting to bear some big teeth, which we probably need from an economy perspective. If you want global investment and stuff, if you look into Europe with GDPR, into the US, other parts of the world, Australia, for example, data privacy is taken very seriously. Their regulators are not to be messed with. And for them to invest here, their regulators are looking for countries where they're investing and sharing data with to take data just as seriously. So we need our regulator to be bearing teeth and to have some proper muscle behind it.
So it's not only the POPIA obligations around a breach notification, but the Cybercrime Act and the revision, which is another bill that's coming out. Plus there's one to do with the Criminal Procedure Act. So there's 4 triggers of how you report a cyber security incident, a cyber attack. We guide you through that, or guide clients through that process as part of the insurance claim.
And then we've got, just for all the brokers on the call, we've got the FSCA, who are also now going to be bringing out their standard as to what they require you to have in place from a cyber security perspective in order to be operating in the financial services conduct or in the financial services industry. So
I think as well with our business of exporting as well, we're starting to keep a lot of international customers information as well. So if we do have a breach, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, this customer's based out of Europe, now you've got GDPR. Right? Oh, this customer's based out of New York, there's New York regulation.
yeah. I mean, in America, it changed because they've got, each state's got its own legislation just to make things more complicated. And that's where the policy, the benefit is having legal experts to try and guide clients through what is a very treacherous sort of terrain, because it's constantly evolving. There's different laws and regulations all over the place. And if you don't notify on time, you don't notify what you have to and stuff, there's the potential of sanctions and fines and penalties, etc. So it is a tough and treacherous landscape back
In jail time.
with that potential too.
So we're an extension of I2 from the claim once it comes, or if there's an incident response as part of the claim, we fulfill on getting that customer, that policyholder through the very disruptive incident and all the regulatory steps. That pretty much covers it. And I think just to sum up, we're really looking forward to maybe starting with 10 or 20 end clients of the client brokers that who've got the highest interest of, oh, that client is really keen on starting with the posture assessment and then going into a much deeper dive on ourselves to help them get the proposal form completed. And then we'll walk in the journey with them that they get confident, gee, these guys are really managing our security nicely with a decent SLA, and that's a synergy.
And I think I'd sort of put it out as well. So a lot of brokerages or businesses as well typically sit on quite sensitive information, given all the KPI and all sorts of information which you need to have about your clients and the KYC sort of requirements. So we also invite the brokers to have a kick of the tires on your own environments. We're happy to run these scans, provide the insights, and have the call with Richard to give you some insights as to what are potential areas in your own posture that you may be able to improve, and completely understand if you want to do that pre-opening up this sort of thing to your clients. So if you are interested in running one of these scans, you've got our contact details, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to schedule that and start letting you be exposed to what is this value add that you can bring to your clients. And of having got the insights from the scan, I would say to your own businesses.
So we could always have another show and tell them how we've done this to ourselves as a martyr.
Yeah.
Because we needed cyber insurance, and we didn't just do it a year ago to get cyber insurance. We've done it again recently, even more deeper dive, so that we can come and present to I2, look, this is how we've really moved the needle of our cybersecurity controls. And it's based on cybersecurity frameworks, which actually map to more or less to your proposal, your application form. And we can use that to show any broker of what we've done to ourselves. So we've done external security posture assessment. We've done a very comprehensive baseline cybersecurity controls review. And we've got tools. We've done exactly the same tools that we've done to ourselves we use when we do these very deep dive assessments so that we can get the form filled in. And we're happy to showcase what we've done to ourselves, because then you can get a sense of what good practice is. We have to, as a cybersecurity business, be exemplary in how we manage our own shop. It's like,
It's your reputation's attached to it.
can you not?
Yeah,
Besides reputation. Well,
fair.
now, are we protected? Are we protected against ransomware attacks? Yes, we are. We've got a very advanced capability that we've deployed as a tool to all of our end user machines and our cloud environments and that. So we really are, compared to all of our sister companies, the 12 other companies, we are streets ahead than we should be.
And I suppose the scary thing is, even with these advanced controls, nothing makes you completely immune. You know, it's, you've built higher walls than your neighbor, you've electrified the fence, you've got steel reinforced door, you've got 5 German shepherds in the front yard, you've got your sniper sitting,
And a safe room.
and a safe room and things like that. But the hackers still, if they want to get in, they're gonna get in, unfortunately.
Came into the stormwater drain into the backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why you have cyber insurance.
Yeah.
For the right reason, carefully thought through. What risk are you trying to protect against? And we also have, as part of this, the ransomware warranty. Don't know if someone wants to talk about that.
I'm almost thinking we should have another session when that's ready to, ready to go. Because
That's
then we can
exciting.
actually showcase what are the technologies behind it and stuff, and how does that actually operate. So it's an exciting one, which is on the horizon. We've done a lot of fantastic work there. I'm really excited for the rollout of that. So stay tuned, and we'll bring some more info on that as and when it's ready and good to go.
I think a little bit of parting advice for the brokers as well. If you're looking at customers for cyber insurance, and trying to figure out who to focus on first, look at the customers that have got the most data that could be stolen and what we done with that, as well as look at the customers that are dealing with large organizations where by them being breached, they could impact a large organization. So if you think even of yourself, right, the brokers have access to a lot of IT information. So if a broker lost his laptop, could somebody gain access to IT systems? Could they gain access to somebody else's system? Right.
Yeah. And if you're a manufacturing concern, how automated are you? So you may not sit on a lot of data, but a hacker got in, could they disrupt operations? Could they damage equipment?
Yeah.
What would the implications of that be? Yeah, so the landscape is changing, and data and systems are becoming so pervasive in the way that we do business that there are cyber risks just about everywhere you look, which and it runs through companies of all shapes and sizes in all different sort of industries. So yeah,
We have got the attention of a very, very large global energy business. And they've asked us to do exactly that on third-party risk, where their top suppliers in country, outside of borders, you know, to what extent can those key suppliers create all sorts of disruptions through cyber attacks in the way that they have information exchanged through technical ways? Can they be compromised? So we're going to do a very comprehensive exercise on them, and we'll target their suppliers to bring them on board into, you know, to get cyber insurance and to come into our managed security services. So we will also bring those opportunities, those main clients, not only that global energy business, but the actual top 20 suppliers with procurement and cybersecurity heads jointly. That's just some additional market access for your broker base.
absolutely.
We really, as I said, we want to be able to say, hey guys, these guys need cyber insurance. I don't know, they don't have brokers. We'll take it through Tammy to direct who can assist.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there in the markets. Maybe before we start to wrap up, Rhonda, I know you've been looking at the question stuff. I don't know if there's anything in there that you want to pose.
There are a couple of questions. The first one being a question from a sole proprietor perspective. Does the market have a package that would suit a small business, sole proprietor, type of business?
We do. We actually creating bundles for a very small business, SME business, 50 users or under. It could actually work for an organization going up to 7,000 users as well. But the idea being that we would create something that would have the endpoints, email, network security, backup, vulnerability assessment, all of that packaged. You'd have the option then of either adding the ransomware warranty from iTOO or a cyber insurance policy. What that does do though is, because it's also sold as a managed service, you get a guarantee of risk mitigation, which iTOO can then actually use to evaluate risk when they do the insurance.
And that's that ransomware product that we're Almost ready
Almost
to
ready,
bring
yeah,
it.
almost ready.
And that's just one component, right? That's an optional extra you could add to it.
I guess leading on from that, another question from the chat around how does the motor's pricing compare to the market for similar software and services that you offer?
It's an interesting one. We do a lot of competition analysis. We try to give the best service with the best products at the best price, right? So we might particularly decide that a particular product is the best to offer that level of protection. And there might be other products that aren't quite offering the same level of protection, but they're much cheaper. So we might use on price to inferior product sets or services. But if you're going head to head with the specific product that we've chosen, our pricing is normally competitive. But at the same time, I'm not going to go and sell something that could potentially create a risk for the customer just because of price. We're putting our name behind those products. We need to make sure they actually do their jobs.
Cool. And Ryan, this one's for you. Is it a condition for the policy to have specific type of systems as a prerequisite?
So there are certain requirements. So you'll recall in the past, we've had the minimum security requirements within the wording. Those obviously filtering out, and we're focusing on these aspects a lot more in the underwriting. There are key things that we look at in order to be comfortable to go on risk. So like having some sort of backup or resiliency strategy in place, having authentication controls, having levels of protection. So there are definitely requirements that we have in play. They are below what is seen as industry best practice typically. And that's just so that they are pragmatic as such. We understand that for many businesses, it's cost prohibitive and not necessarily required to be at the cutting edge of what a NIST or ISO or PCI or any of these global standards are setting forward. So we've based these requirements on what we see as almost a bit of a minimum baseline. And it talks closer to where have we seen things go wrong. So it almost becomes a little bit of a mini checklist as to if we're ticking the box on some of these things, then we've gone away in trying to prevent an incident occurring, or if one does occur, having a means to recover, so having some form of resiliency. So I suppose to answer the question in a short manner, yes, there are certain requirements. What previously was our minimum security requirements, now being focused on more in the underwriting.
Cool, and that's all questions from the chat. If there are any more questions from the brokers on the call, please do share. We can always answer post, but that's it for now.
Can I just elaborate a little bit on some of the points raised as well, because that's another key factor is, talk about specific systems being dictated and stuff like that. One of the areas of expertise we also bring is evaluating the customer's needs and the environment, right? So, for example, I get shot down every time I say this. We've seen with COVID, there's a lot more hybrid workforce, right? So people in the past would say, oh, I've got a few systems at office, I need to put in a firewall and protect it, and all my users are sitting down at the firewall, right? But now 80% of my staff are actually working from home. Is that firewall as relevant now? Should I not focus my efforts on the endpoint, protecting the user where the data is accessible, and have maybe the firewall protecting just the systems, right? Because you can obviously reduce the size and the cost. So we actually do that needs analysis and actually say, this is where you should be focusing. In your particular industry, this kind of information is more relevant to your business than others. So let's protect that. So if you've only got, let's say, R1 million to invest in cybersecurity, what I do with that R1 million?
I think you possibly just made a whole bunch of broken falls for chairs by saying R1 million, but
yeah. Totally joking, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if you have a look now, we've seen 20 user businesses with 180,000 Rand claims just to get their data back, right? So you can understand why cyber insurance has become very relevant. That's a small company. We've seen bigger customers now that are in the 50 to 100 million Rand claims, right? So again, it depends on who you're talking to from a broker perspective.
Absolutely. And I think to your point, you don't have to be buying the latest and greatest blue blinky light box to have decent security. It all becomes about strategy and getting the best value you can for your money, because sometimes a solution which is cheaper, a smaller firewall, because you're focusing on the core assets and you're rather spending a little bit more money on endpoint, which ends up being cheaper than the big fancy firewall, gives you better protection for your needs and requirements. So these are also insights that one's now able to start going, oh, have you considered, what about this? This is why this might become important. And that's some insights that can be brought through the partnership. Maybe just to add one more comment to the question that came up. We're not going to the point where we're saying, well, you've got to be running a checkpoint firewall or FortiGate firewall and stuff. We're talking more generic in terms of, you should have a firewall in place. You should have endpoint protection solution that has some of these capabilities as opposed to specifically naming technologies.
Actually, our value proposition is you don't buy any of the technology. We give it back to you as a service.
As a service, yeah.
What technology we use, does it really matter? You want a service outcome that protects your business, that makes you insurable.
And it's fit for purpose.
Fit for purpose, fit for budget, and we've got remember I said we've got a flexible offering. In other words, if you say from our needs analysis and our whole posture assessment and we say to protect your business, just go with these 3 or 4 things. So there's 7 things in the bundle. Just go with these 3 things, and then a year later we can revisit other priorities. And that flexibility of what you select in the bundle, plus the pricing, consumption-based, as opposed to you're in it on a CapEx basis. I don't think most businesses want to go CapEx anymore. So that flexibility, and of course, you've got buying power, which it was almost alluding to. With all the right technology players, we've come to the table with global pricing, both for Africa context, South Africa context.
Yeah, which means clients are able to access solutions at price points which they may not necessarily be able to do it themselves if they went directly.
Yeah.
We're coming to the top of the hour, so maybe closing comments from yourself, Richard, then you, Caesar, and then I'll wrap up. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is, for me personally, been a journey. I've been, quite involved with looking at cyber insurance and what cybersecurity companies can do for them. So I'm really looking forward to working with you. We have done some dry run tests on the assessments with some of the brokers already. I think, the guys that we have tested have seen the value of it. So I'm sure they're all racing to go and show their customers now, especially the customer says, "Ooh, I'm secure." Like the assessment says, "No, you're not." So yeah, I'm looking forward to working with the guys. So,
Absolutely.
so
No, thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts in this audience. Appreciate it.
No, thank you very much, everyone, for being here and your team. So it's been great to have you on board. And the discussions, I hope the brokers have got a lot of value for that. And we invite the brokers to reach out. We're keen to run these scans and work with you on bringing this value add into your client bases. So please, if you're keen on having a scan, reach out to us, let us know. We can set up the sessions. And same if you want to take it down into your client bases. So thank you for your time this morning. Hope you enjoyed it and look forward to engaging further. Have a lovely Tuesday.
Thank you.
Good. So, I mean, let's just recap on our action.